Okay, now we're going.
Howdy, y'all.
Go Boo!
Guys.
We are 5-2. Dude, we just smacked the Titans. First half was a bit suspect. Literally just recording this after the Bills just played this game.
Aaron's a little sweaty.
First half was a little suspect, but dude, second half we looked really good. Amari Cooper caught a touchdown pass. Super happy to see him in the game. Dude, Dalton did well. Keon Coleman did well. Dude, yeah, it was a solid day for the boys.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that one. What did we do last week?
Oh, so last week we were supposed to go to the river. And then, so Aaron, this is actually a really cool story, guys. Aaron has been having some car-ish with the Jeep. And we thought we had it all fixed. Like, we put quite a bit of money into it. And then it just still, like, the main ish was not resolved, which is, like, the car actually starting, which is kind of a big deal. So
electrical stuff.
Yes. So after having a discussion, Aaron made the responsible decision that we would not drive 4.5 hours away into 104-degree heat into the middle of nowhere with a car that was a little sus. Thank you. You know, sometimes we want to do things, but we have to put our family first, and he did just that. So,
yeah, I really wanted to go.
Yeah, but this is the cool story, guys. So instead, the next day, we went to the lake, a new lake. We got up early.
Went to a new lake.
And the Holy Spirit had been telling me, Laura, you really need to pray over the car. Like, just put your hands on it and pray over it. And I was like, okay. So before we left, it was very simple. I laid my hands on the car, said, you're going to work. There's not going to be any more problems with you. We're done. Like, I'm over it. Like, and I just kind of like declared. And it's been a week and it hasn't had a problem.
The key, I think, there is we were together praying in unity, in agreement.
Yeah, it wasn't just Aaron doing it, and then it wasn't just me doing it.
Yes, because that's what my deal was. Like, I was praying over it, just like, it's going to work every single time I turn on. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it wasn't. And I just felt like, it's kind of funny that the Holy Spirit told you that, because it's kind of the same thing. That the Holy Spirit was like, hey, you need to, like, both you guys need to pray over it in agreement at the same time.
Together. Like, I was praying,
together,
like, in my secret
unity.
time, like, praying over it,
same.
obviously. But we just didn't.
As soon as we came together physically and prayed over it in agreement, boom, that's when stuff started to unlock.
That was really cool.
Yeah?
Yeah,
that was pretty rad.
That was really cool.
But we will be going to the river this coming week.
Tell them what we're doing.
Dude, so my birthday is next week, but we're going to my favorite tackle store in Arizona, which I'm super excited about. So we're going to go do that, and then we are going to the river to test out the new stuff that I get, and it's going to be a great time.
And we have a fun little Airbnb that we're going to stay in.
Airbnb, that's, the main reason.
Yes, the main reason is for fishing, but then we're going to go. If anybody's ever watched Chef's Table on Netflix, one of the episodes is like a pizza episode, and one of the restaurants is actually located in downtown Phoenix. It's like a famous pizza restaurant. So I'm actually taking Aaron there because his favorite food is pizza. So we're going to go have a pizza date night, birthday shebang.
Shebang?
Don't lean into that word too much.
We're going to do a little shebang?
Well, probably. It's your birthday. But otherwise, yes, we're going to have some great food. And, stop. Get back on track. Some of these people.
What do we have planned for this week besides that? Nothing really.
Not really. We're just grinding out a lot of work.
Working.
Yeah. Aaron started substitute teaching, which is really cool. You can make a lot of money. Did you know that anybody with a degree can be a substitute teacher?
It's pretty cush.
Like, that's like mind-boggling to me. Like, they're entrusting these randos who at least pass a background check.
I'm a rando.
And they can just teach our children, which is cool. I mean,
you can work whatever day you want.
Yeah.
It's super cush.
Yep.
Okay.
But let's get to the meat and taters.
What
here.
are we talking about today?
We submitted some questions, or we submitted a poll on Instagram if anybody had questions that they wanted answered, and a couple of you did submit some questions, which is epic. So we're gonna go right into those.
Yes, that was a thing. Let me pull up the first question.
Yeah, so we really appreciate you guys, tuning into us, being interactive with us on Instagram, things like that. It just makes it a lot more real for viewers, and we're trying to pull in questions that you guys actually have. Like, we're not just talking out of our butts here, which is super important. I think one of the questions was all about like what to say on a date and like verbiage and language.
Oh yeah, we could talk about that one first.
Yeah. So that was submitted by a lovely friend of mine. You know who you are. I love you. But anyways, her question was, what do you say on a date? Like, what are appropriate questions on a first date to be asking? We want to obviously make sure that you want a second date with this person. Mm-hmm. So a first date is a great way to gauge and gather information on if you want that second date. And you're definitely not going to get everything on that first date either. Yeah.
I found it.
So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be answering some of those questions. But then what we're also going to be doing is talking to you guys about what a first date should look like, location, questions to ask, all of those good things. How long should it be? Where to go? Yeah. All of that.
So verbiage, what are you thinking?
So I think, I will be honest, a lot of this does come from the man on this part because it is the first date. So we want to allow, and women, this is where we come in at, is we want to allow the guy to lead through the conversation and ask the right questions. Our time and our part will come, obviously. But I think that as we sit back and we answer their questions and allow us to lead, or allow the conversation to be led by them, we'll get a lot of our own questions answered. But it gives you an opportunity to see, okay, this guy, he is already leading a conversation. He's already able to communicate with me, and ask me good questions. So I would say, it would be more, Aaron, you might want to answer this one.
I would say when it just comes to verbiage, I don't know, man, just kind of like play it easy, I guess. Like, you don't want to say something like too out of pocket, like,
do you want to have kids?
Yeah, just don't be cringe, just be yourself. Like, don't overthink it. Like, for the guys, like, I think if you're interested in the girl that you're going on a date with, use their name a lot, make a lot of eye contact. I think those two are like very underrated.
Yeah.
It shows that you're confident, and people like to hear their names being spoken out of other people's mouths. Like, there's just like a dopamine release when you hear your own name. So use their name a lot. Obviously, a lot of eye contact, a lot of smiling. Like, dude, even if you feel like, oh, bro, like, I don't have a good smile, my smile's weird and cheesy. Like, dude, you just freaking smile a lot. Like, no one cares. Like, those three things, just, they break down barriers of just not being sure about you. Like, you just have like a very welcoming presence about you when you do those three things. So I think those honestly are more important than like the actual words, because like the conversation, you can just have a conversation about the bills, and then like it doesn't really matter. Obviously, you want to try and have a conversation where like both of you guys are like somewhat interested in, but the nonverbals are like so much more important, I think, than the actual words that are being said, as long as they're not, like I said, like out of pocket. And I guess an example of what would be out of pocket is like what you're saying, like talk about kids, talk about like no one wants to hear about like no one wants to hear about complaining. Like if anything
Yeah.
is kind of going on towards like a complaining route, like if you're complaining about work or complaining about this, and it's like kind of like,
Mhm.
dude, all they talk about is like how much they hate their job. Maybe they should just get a new job. Like that's kind of a like that's a turn off for sure. Like if you're gonna talk about your job, talk about how awesome your job is, how much you care about your job. If you're gonna bring that up, obviously, like I would probably ask someone like, so what do you do? You know, that's probably one of the first questions I'd ask. But maybe you already know that answer. But yeah, nonverbals speak louder than verbals. So, you know, giving that presence, like, you know, what I'm not doing is sitting up straight, right? So like sit up straight, make a lot of eye contact, smile, use their name. Like that's super, I think women find that very attractive.
Yeah, totally. And I think also, you know, if you're in a Christian dating relationship, a lot of Christian like hangouts, things like that, your testimony is it's very important part of who you are. So how did you come to know Jesus? Like he's the most important part of your life. That is a great talking point.
Testimony.
That's
a great one. Put them on the spot. Talk about your testimony. Hey, what's like something recent so what's something recent that God's been doing in your life?
Yes.
Or like, how did you come to find Jesus?
Yeah.
Boom, dude.
You know, how
really,
long have you
really
been born
get them.
again?
Yep.
Like things like that. Those are great questions to ask because you start to really find out things about them. And you also can find out, well, me and Jesus are still okay. Now we're starting to see some red flags. They still haven't quite worked it out. That's a great gauge. And you can even ask, like, well, what do you do in church? Like, do you serve anywhere? Things like that. Those are also great cues on where the person's at in their walk.
And you can tell by their answer, too. Like, if they have, like, a very short answer or it's not very, like, elaborate or well thought out, it's like you can kind of tell, like, where they're at in their walk. So it's like, okay, like, they're just kind of a shower-upper type of Christian. And you can kind of use discernment in that and how, like, if someone asks me what my testimony is or asks me questions about the Bible or about Jesus, like, dude, I start to get fired up. Like, oh, dude, let me tell you. You know, if they don't have that and they're kind of like, they kind of wince away a little bit, like, oh, yeah, you know, I was born a Christian. And, like, you can kind of tell they don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you not want to talk about that? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Maybe they're just uncomfortable with you and you just got to get to know them a little bit more. But I would like definitely, like you said, like maybe that's a flag that we need to revisit.
Yeah, those are great questions because that's the meat and potatoes. That's what's important. But it's just like such an easy way to start up conversation.
Yeah. You want to go on to the next question?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the next question was pickup lines, yes or no, pros and cons, how to strike up a good convo, and questions to not ask.
I'm going to say this. Pickup lines on the first date is absolutely not.
Dude.
Absolutely not.
Really?
No. Unless they're your, like, straight up homie, no. It's very uncomfortable.
That's a little cringe.
Because it's like, if the person, if you've engaged them yet and their like jokeability, they may be totally like, what the heck did you just say? Like with Aaron and I, we were buddies. Like he was my friend. Like had considered him like a very good friend by the point we started dating. So making jokes and stuff, like it was already there. Like I'm a jokester. I handle jokes very well. And he knew that. So he could already start like playing with me, which was great. Corny. But like weird pickup lines on the first date, like let's say you met this person on like a Christian dating website and all of a sudden you've never like met them before and you're sitting across the table from them and they're starting to like bring in pickup lines. Guys, it's real uncomfortable for us ladies and vice versa. It's kind of, a lot of people will use a pickup line to, what would you call that? Like,
but what if you're not even on a date? Like, what if you're just like...
Well, that's even worse.
like you're just like, you know, you're out, I don't know, you just find someone attractive, like in the lobby at church, for example.
It's not respectful. Like,
ooh, good point.
Like, what are we doing? Like, pickup lines typically have something to do with your age, with the way you look. They can even become like sexualized. That's the point of a pickup line. Even if they're like corny, it's still like, you're a man of God. Would Jesus like go present a pickup line? No. Like, really think about that. Like, a man of God, like with true integrity, he's not going to have to use a pickup line to get a chick. He's just going to show up with Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to happen.
I would say like pros and cons for pickup lines. I mean, I guess pros if if you're just trying to get a date, I guess, but I would say just altogether stay away from them.
Yeah.
Like, there's kind of no point in having a pickup line, because if you want to have like a meaningful relationship, there should be some type of either previous connection beforehand, or like you guys are maybe already friends or already kind of acquaintances beforehand, and that in itself is like the first initial contact. But I don't think a first initial contact should be a pickup line. I think that's maybe, unless you're like super funny, but I don't know. I would say altogether just stay away from it and just be respectful. You know, that's kind of the biggest thing, especially for guys. Like, be respectful, be honorable. Like, and I don't think there's no room for pickup lines for guys that they can be like respectful and honorable.
Yeah, it's
so I would just say like kind of,
it's a weird border. You don't want to cross it.
yeah.
But okay, has anybody ever seen Jesus Revolution? In that movie, like the love story that gets presented between I can't remember his name or her name, but anyways, they were friends kind of before, and they have this like line, and it's technically a pickup line, but they were like friends, and it was actually really cute, and he ends up using it to propose to her later. That would be appropriate.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you need an example, go to that movie and listen to that piece, because it's a great way to use like a cutesy joke, but it was totally respectful to her. Like it was literally, I think, if you ever get in between me and God, like, we're done. Like, it was so cute. And he ended up using that later, and that's what really, like, it totally, like, she was all about it because it involved God, and it was like quite legitimate, but it was also very cute.
Yeah. I would say in that case, yeah, fantastic. Because obviously they've already been like acquaintances and friends and relationship beforehand.
Yeah.
And then the second part of the question, how to strike up good conversation and what questions to not ask. So I guess that kind of goes into like the first one a little bit. So like if you're not using pickup lines, like how do I strike up a conversation with this person? So like, I guess if you're interested in someone, I would say it's best to have a conversation with them in a sense of like you guys are like in an area or in a place where there's other people around and it's like a group setting. I think that's like just the easiest, because then you can just be like, you know, I don't know, smile and talk about the day or talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
I think people overthink that, like, oh my gosh, like, what do I even say? Like, make an observation. I don't know, but make it in a place where you're in a area that you're surrounded with other people. Makes it a little bit less intimidating, because if it's just you two, which it probably won't be if you're if you guys are not dating, and it's just like there isn't going to be a situation where both you guys are going to be like separate together, I don't think. But I would say biggest thing is just make an observation and play it cool. Like, you don't overthink it. Don't try to make it this big old thing. Because it's not attractive if you go into it thinking like, okay, I have to make an impression.
Yeah.
Like, who cares if you make an impression or not? Like, the only impression you should be making is, am I reflecting Jesus right now? That's the only thing you should be thinking about.
Yeah.
So don't overthink it, right? If you really want to spark up a conversation with somebody, just be yourself.
Mhm.
You know, if you're not a funny person, then don't try to make a joke. Like if you're just a normal person, like I'm not really funny, I don't really have any jokes to say, then don't. But just be friendly, right? That's like the easiest way. Like if you're a girl trying to talk to a guy, just be overly friendly. It's super easy for guys to talk to women if like the women themselves, they're the ones coming up to the guy and they're super super friendly and like outgoing. Okay, that just makes it easy. If you're a guy going up to a girl, just be super not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not aggressive. Like very like super friendly, like I'm not trying to hit on you. I'm just like trying to have a small conversation, small talk, like nothing crazy. Again, same thing I was talking about earlier. Eye contact, smile, use her name a lot, but don't overstay your welcome.
That's
for both
really
sides.
good. Yeah.
Like if at some point they start to like the conversation starts to die, then just cut it. Like cool, walk away with your dub. Don't turn it into an L. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't like overstay your welcome. Don't try and like make up more conversations because either party, guy or girl, like they're gonna kind of get like bored or like, okay, like you leave me alone now. You gotta just play like the short game. Like go in, like have a couple words of conversation, maybe make a joke, maybe talk about this, and then boom, got it. All right, that's it. On to the next one. You know what I mean? Not on to the next like person, but like maybe I'll revisit them later and I'll do the same thing again. So
yeah, no, that's really good. Aaron was always really good at that with me, and in a way, he left me wanting more because of how like discreet he was.
That? You see that?
Like I don't even think he was doing that on
I
purpose.
was.
I mean, Aaron has game, but
I got game.
yeah, he used to be a chubby boy. So, you know, he has this like very soft, gentle side to him as well. And he was just really good at like just talking to me like a friend and not being freaking weird or uncomfortable. And then he was good at gauging like when the conversation was dying. Honestly, it never really did. We'd always have great convos, obviously. But he was just really good. Like I can remember specific moments through our friendship where what he would do is he liked me. He had a good gauge on me and where I was at. And if there was an opportunity for Aaron to get to know me better, maybe like that time we went to the movies and he knew I was going, he went, but he wasn't all over me. He didn't even sit next to me. It was just like a moment for him to have like one or two small conversations with me that weren't overwhelming. And that was it. That's all he needed. He wasn't pushing it. He wasn't pushing me to like make it so. And it was in those moments where I actually started to be like, like he's leaving an impression on me because he's not all up in my grill. Like it was great the way you did that.
You hear that? It's good stuff right there. The man's a genius.
Oh my.
Nah, but biggest thing is like, if you're interested in someone, don't let them know you're interested right away. Or like, I don't think it's good to like just throw yourself onto someone, because they're either gonna like, they're either going to deflect it and they're not going to receive it well, or it's going to be really good. But I think the best way to do it is like just kind of like nice and slow, especially now, like, because shoot, man, guys, it's just weird. The world we're living in is strange.
Yeah.
Right. And guys can be like, you don't know somebody. Like the best way to do it is come off very not nonchalant. I don't know what the word I'm
and
looking
not
for
hard to
is.
get either.
Yeah, not hard to get and not aggressive.
Just calm. Like, carry the peace of Jesus.
Very innocent.
Yeah, just chill. It's all good.
Be a chiller.
Yeah. Like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Exactly.
If it doesn't, it doesn't. But don't force it. Like,
Don't
let
force
the
it.
Lord, like, guide you to it. If you're listening to him, he'll guide you every step of the way.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good for those questions.
Yep.
What do you want to talk about? You got 5 minutes. Less than that.
Basically what we wanted to do is just give you guys a couple of tangible things. Now, women, for you, this isn't necessarily a piece for you to take and do, but it's a piece for you to observe it being done onto you. All right. So, because I'm an advocate for the woman does not go first in this area. Let the man approach you. Let him come up to you and say hi. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you can't be friendly. It just means don't force it and don't be the first one. All right. This is him. You have to respect him by allowing him to lead. And this is a way a man would do it. So pretty much what we're going to talk about is how would you ask somebody out? Let's say the person is not really your friend. You know of them. You've worked together. Maybe you've hung out together a few times, but you are interested in them. And the Lord has said, go ahead and ask them out on a date. So, Aaron, how would you ask somebody out on a date?
For if you're a guy?
Yes.
Oh, easy. You just go up to him and say, "What up, shawty?"
Wow.
No, I'm kidding.
No.
You just be upfront and honest, and just be like, "Hey, I would like to take you out on a date."
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, seriously.
It really is, guys.
You can't be like afraid of rejection. Like, it's gonna happen, dude. Like, Jesus got rejected many times by his own people. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen. But yeah, biggest thing is just be honest. Maybe a little flattery, like, "Hey, I would love to take you out on a date.
I think you're awesome.
Like, make like a little observation, like, I love how you're killing it in church, or I love that you're serving in this area, whatever it is. And just let your intentions be clear. Don't say like, "Hey, like, I want to, we should go out for coffee sometime. We should hang out." Yeah, don't say we should hang out. Like, "Hey, like, I'd like to take you out on a date," and then go somewhere that's like public.
Yeah, like you couldn't even say it's nice to present a plan already and just be like, "Hey, would you like to go out on a date? I'd love to get you coffee." And just already, like, you already have a plan. Like, women love that because they're like, "Oh, this guy, like, he wants to take me out for coffee. Yep. He's already got it figured out. Like, I'm just gonna, like, arrive."
Yeah, you just got to do it, man, and just be confident. Like, literally just be like, "Hey, are you busy on Tuesday after work?" Or you should say, "Hey, like, what days are you busy? Oh, this, and this. Oh, I'd love to take you out on a date. We can do this, and then if you have time, we can maybe do this, and then, call it a day." And if they're like, "Well, I'm busy, like, they'll let you know, dude. If they give you like the, "Oh, I don't know, like, I'm kind of busy on those days,"
say, "Hey,"
then that's a no, because most people are not, like, most women are not gonna say no, sorry. Like, they're gonna let you off with that. They'll give you like kind of like a half, like, maybe no, type no. But if it's a yes and they're like legitimately like, "I'm actually busy," they'll give you like another day.
Yeah, and your response can literally just be, "Hey, no worries. If you want to let me know at a later time, totally."
That works too.
And then you can just walk away. You don't have to linger. And when you do ask them out, don't ask them out in front of their friends or other people.
'Cause that's
Pull them
awkward.
off to the side, because then they don't have to say yes because they don't want to let you down.
How do you pull someone off to the side though if you're like
just say, "Hey, do you have an opportunity to talk really quick? I just want to ask you something." Like, just very like easy. It doesn't have to be this whole thing. And then if they have an opportunity, they'll go off to the side. You ask the question, and we're done.
Yeah, and if it's a yes, like, they'll either obviously say yes or be like, like, "I'm busy on those days, but maybe we can do this instead." And then she'll give you like a time.
Well, party peeps, that's what we got for you today.
Party peeps is insane. Yes, be sure to subscribe to us if you're watching us on YouTube. We love for you guys to like and subscribe. Also follow us on Instagram at Dating and Marriage Podcast. You can also follow our separate Instagrams. We post a lot of stuff on there as well. Check out our link tree. We got a lot of cool stuff in there. Keep an eye out for some guides, like some dating guides, things to say on a first date, what not to say on a first date, a little bit more stuff that we didn't talk about on the podcast, red flags, stuff like that. A lot of cool guides. Be sure to check those out on our link tree that we're going to be having out pretty soon. But aside from that, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching and listening, yo.
You're really cool, you know that? We keep.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Later.